mean, the Republican hearings that have unfolded over the last few days and throughout this entire Congress are a malignant clown show that are not designed to address issues that impact the health, the safety, and the economic well-being of the American people, but instead peddle outlandish and out-of-control conspiracy theories. The notion that Republicans would give a congressional platform to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who peddles anti-Semitic tropes and baseless, xenophobic conspiracy theories, which together are directed at the Jewish community and the Chinese American community, is unbelievable, which is why you can't take my Republican colleagues seriously when they tell you that they believe in tolerance. Why would you give Robert F. Kennedy Jr. a congressional platform to spew his hatred? Here's the answer. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a living, breathing, false flag operation. His whole campaign is being run by right-wing political operatives who have one objective: try to take down President Joe Biden.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a story straight out of the Babylon Bee, except this is not the Babylon Bee. This is real life, okay? And Democrats are showing us that they are truly the party of fascism in this country as they attempt to censor and remove RFK Jr. from a government hearing on government censorship. Yes, you heard that right. The Democrats, who are part of the government, attempted to censor RFK Jr. over conspiracy theories at a congressional hearing on government censorship, which Democrats claim is a conspiracy. I'm not making this up. Take a look.
I'd like to raise a point of order.
Gentlelady can state a point of order.
Point of order pursuant to House Rule 11, Clause 2, which Mr. Kennedy is violative of. I move that we remove into executive session because Mr. Kennedy has repeatedly made despicable anti-Semitic and anti-Asian comments as recently as last week. Rule 11, Clause 2 says, whenever it is asserted by a member of the committee that the evidence or testimony at a hearing may tend to defame, degrade, or incriminate any person, or it is asserted by a witness that the evidence or testimony that the witness would give at a hearing may tend to defame, degrade, or incriminate the witness, and it goes on.
Gentlelady making a motion or a speech?
I've made a motion to move into executive session because Mr. Kennedy's testimony.
Mr. Chairman, I
and
move
his
to table the
previous
motion.
statements.
The gentleman from Kentucky has moved to table.
Mr. Chairman, I ask for a roll call vote on the motion to table.
Well, let me ask the question. The question is on the motion to table. The gentlelady has asked for a roll call vote.
But you don't have the right to a platform, public or private. We don't have to give one of the largest platforms of our democracy, Congress, this hearing. Our right does not mean that we as Americans are not free from accountability. And that's what's distressing about this hearing. Even knowing what they know about Mr. Kennedy's hateful, evidence-free rhetoric, and even though they've invited any number of witnesses to make their point, Speaker McCarthy, Chairman Jordan affirmatively chose to give this a platform. They intentionally chose to elevate this rhetoric to give these harmful, dangerous views a platform in the halls of the United States Congress. That's endorsing that speech. That's not just supporting free speech. They have co-signed on idiotic, bigoted messaging. It's a conscious choice. There's no doubt as to why they're making the choice. It's not to guard free speech or to ensure equality for all. All of this, as you'll hear throughout this hearing, is to show us by their conduct over and over and again that any attack on Joe Biden to get Donald Trump back in the White House is what they need to do.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. The fascist Democrats tried to prevent RFK from speaking or giving a testimony by claiming he was in violation of House rules aimed at preventing defamatory or degrading testimony. They also made all types of allegations about things that RFK allegedly said that they have a problem with. Now, RFK had just given an opening statement. He hadn't really said anything at all, and Democrats were already trying to censor the guy, right? Trying to remove him from the hearing. Again, it's extremely sad that this is the state of our republic. It really is. So RFK responded to the censorship of the Democrats with an impassioned speech that I'm going to play some of. I'm not going to play all of it. I just want to play some of it so you guys can get the gist of how RFK responded to the Democrats in their attempt to censor him at a censorship hearing, which, again, is just, it's insane to think about. Take a look.
If, by your leave, I'd like to just respond very briefly to some of the, what I would call defamations that have been just applied to me by the ranking member. I'm happy to talk to you about my opinions on these issues, what you have stated and tried to associate me with through guilt by association is simply inaccurate. Virtually everything, every statement that you just made about me is inaccurate. I have never advised Black Americans not to receive vaccines. At one point you say I'm anti-vax, and that's a bad thing. The other moment you point out that all my children are vaxxed. I'm fully compliant with the vaccine schedule myself, except for COVID. I took flu vaccines for 20 years straight. I have never been anti-vax. I have never told the public avoid vaccination. The only thing I've asked for, and my views are constantly misrepresented so that the truth of what I believe is not, we're not allowed to have a conversation about that with the American people, which I believe vaccines should be tested with the same rigor as other medicines and medications. You tried to associate me a moment ago with the replacement theory, which is racist.
No, I did not say you
Time
had the
belongs to the
replacement
gentleman
theory.
from
I
I
said
did
my
not-
colleagues
Time
did.
belongs to the gentleman from
I
Kentucky.
denounce that theory. It is racist, and I have never endorsed it or had any association with it. Our film on a medical, by the
Medical
way,
apartheid?
Bill Buxton, who is the Black CDC official who ultimately exposed the Tuskegee experiment, tried for years and years to appeal to CDC to stop it for 40 years. Finally, he got relief by walking into my uncle's office in the building next door. He held hearings and ended the experiment. I remember that very well. And to say that I created a film that encourages blacks not to get adequate medical care is just completely abhorrent.
Don't misuse my words,
It's the
sir.
witness's time. Do not censor the witness.
I'm
If
not
the-
censoring
if
the
the-
witness.
Yeah.
I'm not
If the-
censoring the witness. He's still talking.
It's
I don't
my
have the
time, and I've
ability to
given it to
censor.
the witness. Do not censor him.
I'm not
the-
censoring him.
If the views that you and others have applied to me, I've attributed to me, if they were actually true, I can see why I shouldn't be able to testify here today. Those are not true. These are defamations and malignancies that are used to censor me, to prevent people from listening to the actual things that I'm saying. And I think, ranking member, that we should have a real conversation rather than an exchange of ad hominem attacks. And answer very quickly to your question, the term malinformation was coined to describe information that Facebook and Twitter and the other social media sites understood was true, but that the White House and other federal agencies wanted censored anyway for political reasons because it challenged official orthodoxies. I'll give you one example. I was included in a group called the Disinformation Dozen. And Facebook and others were asked to censor us, which they did. And by the way, my Heck Aaron post, it was taken down. My whole Instagram account with 900,000 people was taken down because of that. So they knew, Facebook knew that the disinformation doesn't claim. And what they said, if the disinformation doesn't came from this very shady group called the Center for Preventing Digital Hate in England, that is funded by dark money, that should be looked into. They claim that 65% of the vaccine misinformation on the internet was generated by those 12 people. Facebook itself said that is impossible. That is false information. We know that not to be true. And yet, when the White House asked them to censor this disinformation doesn't, including me, they did it anyway when they knew it to be untrue.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, Democrats believe that they should be able to just smear and to state falsehoods about people and misrepresent their viewpoints and what they believe, okay? And they shouldn't be able to defend themselves or speak in Congress. Now, Democrats were asked about their attempts to censor RFK, and their answers are not very encouraging. Take a look.
Do you think that Democrats are proving RFK Jr.'s point by trying to stop him from coming today and censor him, that Democrats are unfairly censoring him?
I'm not going to respond to a loaded question like that. You've already decided in your own answer.
What are you afraid that he would say under oath today that you want to stop even the American people from having the opportunity to hear?
I'm not afraid of anything he would say. I just don't want to hear him.
What do you say to people who are concerned that you were trying to censor RFK Jr. by trying to not let him come today?
Oh, that's not censorship. Censorship would not being allowing someone to speak. He can speak. That doesn't give him necessarily the ability to have to do it in the halls of Congress.
Trying to censor him today proved his point that he is being...
Censor him? We were trying to make sure that he didn't cause more harm with his outrageous testimony.
I don't think you want to bring bigots before the Congress, but apparently that's par for the course with this majority.
Yo, again, Democrats are a clown show, and it would be a lot funnier if, again, it didn't have such a negative effect on our republic. I only got one question, right? Because clearly the Democrats are trying to censor the guy, okay? They claim that, well, it's not censorship. We just don't want him to speak in Congress. We don't want to give him this platform. And it's like, well, that is censorship. You're censoring him from being able to speak in Congress, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous, right? It really is. My only question is this. Where is the old school Democrat / liberal that used to stand up for free speech, right? Where's that Democrat at, right? Where's the Democrat that's going to stand up to their party and just say, look, what we're doing to RFK is wrong, okay? What's happening here is wrong. We're literally proving the Republicans right. We're proving RFK right by censoring this man just because we don't like what he says. I think people have the right to speak before Congress. It doesn't matter if their viewpoints are abhorrent or if they're spewing misinformation, which really at this point, I mean, misinformation is just whatever the government disagrees with. It's not about what's true or what's not true at this point. I think we all realize that. But you should have the right to say these things in Congress. If they're so wrong, if they're so untrue, then you should be able to easily disprove these things or to counter these points and let the public decide. Right? But you know what actually really blows my mind about this? There are conspiracy theories that are actually harmful that come from the left. Like, for example, the conspiracy that white cops are trying to indiscriminately kill black men around the country, right? This conspiracy resulted in billions of dollars in damage, people losing their businesses, people getting shot and killed, vandalism. It resulted in real world violence and harm, but nobody's ever been censored for making that claim, right? In the name of trying to protect people from harm. Nobody's ever been censored for that. You have people who are out in the streets putting their own lives in danger because they believe that the planet is getting too hot, right? They believe that because of climate change, the world is going to end in like 12 years, okay? That conspiracy that is pushed by Democrats, again, has people out in the streets putting their lives in danger thinking that they're trying to save the world. Again, causing real world harm. However, you do not see big tech. You don't see Democrats. You don't see corporate America. You don't see the government. You don't see any of these entities that try so hard to censor, conspiracies from the right because of harmful information You never see them censor Democrat conspiracy theories that clearly aren't true and that have caused real world harm, right? Again, it's just amazing how that works. And that's my biggest problem with this, right? My biggest problem with this is that any conspiracy that comes from the right, they deem it to be harmful, even if it's not harmful, even if nobody's actually, died or nobody's actually, had any type of harm done to them because of this conspiracy. They deem that to be misinformation / disinformation, even if it's true. And they say, well, it's harmful. You're harming people, right? And then they use that as justification to not allow people to speak or to remove people's content and to, again, censor them. But again, you don't see this type of censorship happen to people on the left who spew conspiracies that actually have caused real world harm and that are not true, right? Again, it's just amazing how that works. But like I said, my one question is, where is the Democrat with a spine? Where's the Democrat with a soul? Where's the Democrat that actually does believe in freedom of speech, standing up to their party and saying what you guys are doing is wrong? You're on the wrong side of history. You can't run around here and claim that Republicans are fascists when Democrats routinely engage in fascism on a day-to-day basis. I mean, that is basically the crux of the Democrat Party platform, which is fascism, right? That's the problem here. You don't have Democrats standing up to what they know is wrong, okay? The immoral censorship that is coming from their own party members. They're not standing up to it. But again, these people want Republicans to stand up to Trump. Stand up to Trump. But these people can't even stand up to fascists in their own party, okay? Again, it really blows my mind. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.